What's up, guys? Bienvenido to another episode of Aque, Mando podcast, Denver's hottest in the city. If you don't know, now you do. I'm your host, La Chula G.
And you already know who I am, Ransom. What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
Hell yeah, welcome back. And we want to give a special shout out to our official sponsor, Be Good Dispensaries. Pull up off of Broadway and Hampton and get your supply and get high.
I'm smoking a blunt tonight, guys. Sorry. I'm gonna box this room.
We have a very special episode. Ransom, do you got your timer on?
I do now.
Okay, good.
I do now.
We have a very special guest today. Go ahead and introduce yourself, special guest.
Hi, yes, my name is Raquel Perez, and I am, should I give my full title, everything now?
Yes,
All
that'd be
right.
great. Let's jump in.
So, yeah, my name is Raquel Perez, and I am a licensed professional counselor in the state of Colorado, which is just a fancy way of saying I am a therapist.
Yeah.
Sick type.
I have a private practice in Lakewood. It is called Intima Couples and Sex Therapy.
Ooh, that's so cool.
I'm excited for this.
Can I just say that I found her in a rabbit hole? Okay, I found her on TikTok because everybody that I looked up, like sex therapists, they were in like Cali, New York. I'm like, where are all the Colorado ones at?
Surprise, here we are.
I know, right?
You found one!
And she's Mexican. And she's Mexican. I'm like, yep, let's do it.
You're
Yeah, so, yeah, happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited,
Course.
too.
Heck yeah. Is this your first podcast?
It is.
Oh, and you picked the best one.
And I'm all swinging in my chair. Can you tell? I'm
She's
nervous.
no, you're good. It's good. Okay.
it's all good. I'd be doing that too.
All right, Ransom. Go ahead. Number one.
All right. You know me. Number one. Basics of therapy. Want me to ask those
Yeah,
things? All right, cool. One. What does a sex and intimacy I can't talk intimacy therapist do?
So, a sex therapist, what I do basically is provide a safe place for people to explore their relationship with sex. I think that's kind of the best way to put it in a nutshell.
Okay. Okay, so with the next question, it says, what are misconceptions about sex therapy?
Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel, and I just did a video on this because it is so common. One of the biggest misconceptions, there's actually three. The first one is that there is some type of sex involved in sex therapy. And
So like demonstrating, is that what you're talking
yes,
about?
or like some kind of sexual practices
Okay,
involved.
she's gonna teach us how to lick.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, 'cause that's what I thought. I mean, if you guys are not visually seeing us, but we have some nice arrangements on the table. We got some whips, a mask, a gag. Of course, Ransom brought her favorite shooters.
My favorite shooters. This was my favorite for sure.
Of course, listen, we got the pito on the side. Okay?
That's
Okay, so
Love-
it's not a sex class. You're not performing.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
It is not a sex class, and we're not performing. But that is one of the biggest misconceptions about sex therapy, is that there is some type of sex involved during sex therapy.
Mhm.
And actually, a therapist, to be a therapist, like we've gone through some pretty extensive training and schooling and education, and there's like an entire code of ethics that we have to abide by, and even touch with our clients can be squirrely.
Right. I bet.
Damn. I was thinking people were getting folded right there.
Oh my god.
That's what I
And
thought.
you need to hit a 90-degree angle. You're not hitting her well. Bend her over. Oh my god. Well, I'm glad you clarified, because I don't think anybody knows that. Because I feel like they pick, like, have you seen Meet the Fockers?
Yes.
Where she's like,
Yep,
Yeah.
my girlfriend and I talk about that all the time, and she always says, like, that's what people think sex therapy
yeah,
is.
yeah.
The mom
Yes.
Yep.
folding people.
Okay.
Damn.
So when do you know you need sex therapy?
Geez, I would say that we could all use therapy of some kind. And
agree.
if you,
I
yes.
agree.
And if there are things that are coming up, because sex therapy is kind of like where the physical part meets like the psychological part, right?
Right.
And so many people are having like blocks a big thing that I see is like performance pressure, and they're having blocks around that, and so that's where like it meets the psychology, right? Like where the physical is meeting the psychology of it, and that's what sex therapy is like. Figuring out where those two things meet.
Oh my God, I can't stand so are your clients, without breaking confidentiality, of course, are they going in solo, or is it like couples? Like,
yeah, so many sex therapists are not also couples therapists. I am a couples and sex. I do couples and sex therapy. So relationship therapy and sex therapy. So I'll see individuals for sex therapy, and I will also work with people that are in relationships when it comes to sex therapy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
So piggyback on that. So when you have that block, is there any other red flags like that also indicate that you need it? So like I would think that people go in because they're like their desire is just not there anymore.
I think that's a big one in relationships.
Oh, okay.
When people are in relationships, oftentimes like that desire, or even just a certain stage in their life. So yeah, I would say that can be definitely something, and something that's different, right? Like they're like, I did have the desire before, and now it's kind of like faded off, and I don't know what happened.
So you help people who like have it, like they can't have sex, but they're like falling off with sex, so they're like
yeah that are kind of like meh now with sex, and yeah, like having a conversation. Like I said, I consider myself a conversationalist, so it's literally having a conversation with someone, helping them like explore more things that maybe they hadn't considered before.
Oh, okay. Can you tell us a couple? I'm like, go ahead. Let's get into it. Don't be shy either.
Oh
my God.
Hey, you're probably not going to say anything I haven't heard before.
See, thank you. Don't be scared.
Who's scared? Who's scared? Am I getting red?
A little bit.
Psych.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's just like you go home to your girl, and the guy's like, I want to get like that guac 460, whatever, and she's like, right?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
I don't know.
We need help.
Oh my gosh. I can't. Commercial breaks. I'm kidding.
Bet you wish you had those now.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So I feel like, and then I also feel like when I think about sex therapists, it's kind of like, how do we spice up our relationship? And then like, people think of these toys that are on the table, and they're like, do you encourage that? Like how does that work?
That brings up another really good point, and I guess misconception also, that we're here to fix all ailments.
Yeah.
And we have like this silver bullet, and we're going to give all these recommendations and advice and tell you exactly how to do it and who to do it with and
where to put it.
Probably most of the problem, though, is that we have been told where to put it, how to do it, what it looks like, what it should look like, what it shouldn't look like. And that's probably what's messing us up more than just exploring on our own. So I do, that's something that I tell clients when I first meet them is like, I stay away from like homework and tools, because more than likely, if I give you advice, it's coming from my own personal perspective and perception, and it may or may not work for you.
Okay.
So really, it's having a conversation about maybe what does work for you, because we're all so different.
Right. Well, you kind of already went into our next question. It was, how do cultural values and norms in the Latino community influence the way people perceive therapy?
In the Latino community, one of the things that I was thinking about when I think specifically with the Latino community is how like family oriented the Latino community is, and bringing in outsiders' perspective on what is happening in our family is kind of like a no.
Yeah, exactly. Shut up. No one needs to know your business.
Exactly. That is happening here in our family. Don't bring that stranger up in here. Be telling them all our business. They don't need to know.
Right.
So I think that's something that comes up for me when I think specifically about the Latino community.
I feel like for myself growing up too, I feel like where we grow up in this machismo like perspective, but my mom too was very like, sex is bad, it's nasty, you're dirty, you're a cochina. If you're doing it, it's not okay, you know? And we talked about it on here previously, but it's like, it's associated with shame, and like, it's not anything to be proud of, and you don't share and you don't talk about it.
Exactly. And that's a huge issue, right? Because then when we're growing up and we're developing these relationships that we have with sex and ourselves and our own sexuality, we have like so many questions and we don't have anywhere to get those answers. We don't have anywhere to ask them.
Right.
And so then we're kind of left to our own devices. And sometimes our own devices are people our same age that also don't know anything about the subject, right?
Right.
And yes, and then we grow up and we have shame and guilt and embarrassment about sex.
Right.
Sex.
So I mean, so we did dig into your channel, and you did I did watch a video of yours where, because you are in the same community as Miss Ransom over there.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yes.
What are your acronyms? The LGBTQ.
LMNOP.
There we go. See,
TUV.
I know that was really big for you too. Would you say that impacted your career choice as well?
I think, yes, it did. Being Latina and everything that you already talked about, right? Like the shame, the guilt. Yes, I am a gay Mexican American woman who actually didn't come out until I was in my late 30s.
Oh, wow.
So that entire journey of like acceptance and who I am and realizing who I am and then sharing that with the world, I think was a big part of it. I also became a mother of 3 kids by the time I was 21 years old.
Oh,
so like
man.
there was a zero communication about sex in my house. The message was, you don't do it, period. End of story, end of discussion. You don't do it, don't do it.
Right.
That's it.
Or like get married. Just get married. If you have a baby.
And then you do it, and then you're pregnant by the time you're 17.
Yeah.
That was
Oh my goodness. All right. Go ahead. Number 4.
All right, number 4. And so I got a little cough. This be good. It's fire. I'm just telling you right now. Number 4. Are there any barriers, culture, financial, or prevent Latinos from accessing sex and intimacy therapy?
Yeah, I think kind of going back to what we were just talking about, the machismo culture, gender roles,
Huge.
us being, again, like it's our family, nobody else needs to come in. Another thing that I think about that I hear in my personal circles is like the ability to relate to the therapist that's in front of you.
Oh, absolutely.
And so if there aren't a lot of brown therapists,
yeah, people
to
of color,
choose from,
yeah, exactly,
then it's very difficult to find somebody that you can relate to, and that's something that I hear in my personal circles. So I think that those things are all barriers. Plus, it's confusing. Like finding a therapist, many people don't even know like where to find one, how you do it, what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to talk about. Like it's a very confusing process.
How much it costs?
How would you
Expensive.
I know if people are out there listening and want to know, where would you guide them to? What would you tell them?
I again have a whole video on this because it's such a problem, because it is so confusing. But I would say step number 1 is there are a ton of directories that list therapists, and you can filter them through like the state that you live in, the topic that you're looking for, like for example sex therapy or relationship therapy, or and it'll bring up like lists and lists and lists and lists. One of them is called Psychology Today. Just putting it out there. And another thing is like most therapists offer at least 15-minute consultations for free. So like don't be afraid to schedule a 15-minute consultation. And that consultation is to see if you like them.
Right.
Like if you like the way that they are showing up.
I see. Do you think therapy is expensive?
It is expensive.
Yeah.
It is expensive. And we have like, I mean, it's expensive, and we have a medical model. And unfortunately, insurance companies, if you've ever been on the other side, even on any side of an insurance company, it's confusing and nobody really wants to work with them.
Oh, I bet.
Because it's hard. It's hard. They make our job as a therapist like 10 times harder than it actually has to be.
For school, you had to go. You said you have. I don't know why I can't talk today. You said you got to go to school for this, right?
Yes.
So are you a doctor?
No, because I have a master's.
That was mine.
Yep. So I have a bachelor's, which is completely unrelated, in biology and chemistry, and then I have a master's in counseling.
Oh.
Well, chemistry is kind of like counseling.
True.
Right?
True. I was already headed there, and I didn't even know it.
Yep.
High five.
High five. Okay. All right. Number 5. Why do you think discussing sex is still taboo in many Latino households?
I think it's a kind of like a generational thing. Like our parents and our grandparents are having a really hard time probably like separating from everything that they heard about what should and shouldn't be talked about. And sex is one of the things you shouldn't be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it just continues on generation after generation after generation. It's going to take a generation to start to like dismantle that a little bit. Exactly.
Right. To break that learned behavior.
Exactly.
I think, I mean, I agree the generational thing, but it's like we grew up so different too. 'Cause like obviously my parents, one of them's, you know, she was born here and the other one's in Mexico. So it's just kind of like, and I feel like infidelity is so normalized for men in Latino community. So it's just like, it's okay if he does it, but if I do it,
that's actually
a big one.
That's a really, really good point, actually. And yeah, so I also, on top of coming from a very Mexican American household, it was also a very Christian household. And so like I hold those two, well, I don't hold one of those identities anymore, but but it was there. And I guess my point coming back to you is that's not even something that I necessarily considered because it's not something that I saw, but it is very prevalent in the Latino community.
It's like, it's okay if he cheats because guess what? He pays for the house.
Exactly.
He pays all his kids are taken care of, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But like we don't talk about it.
Do it, you're a slut. Like I said.
They don't talk about it. And it's just like, I don't know. I mean, 'cause you have clients. Would you say, like, what's the biggest race, would you say? The majority of the race.
Actually, interestingly enough, I would say almost all of my clients do identify with some type of a marginalized community, whether it's their race or their sexuality or their gender identity or
a club or whatever.
Their club? What club are you in?
Their own little club they got. Whatever they go for.
The unicorn.
Yeah.
With the upside down pineapples. You guys know what that means.
Oh my goodness. I set myself up for that one.
That is funny.
So I'm curious to know, like, what are your thoughts on open relationships?
That's a very good question because that was the other thing that I was going to say. I work with, actually a large segment of my population that I work with is either they are non-monogamous or they're monogamous and trying to become non-monogamous, or the other way around.
Okay.
I think that there is a very healthy way to do that. And I also think that not for everyone, of course.
Right.
But for some people who do find themselves like in this infidelity, I think that our culture is so monogamous and so monogamous heavy that there's like no room for somebody to even say that or think that maybe they might be non-monogamous, which is actually even more harmful. Because then a non-monogamous person, so a person who wants to be in an open relationship, is oftentimes stringing along a person who would rather be monogamous.
Right.
Yep.
Dang.
I agree.
I couldn't.
Well,
I don't know. Are you okay with a cheater or are you not?
Yeah. You want to stay or not?
See, my problem is like I'm like I want my cake and eat it too, and I do get mad because I'm like, how come dudes can go and have sex with someone and there be no emotional ties, but when it's a female, it's different, and you're a whore, but he's a player. Like, how does that work? Make it make sense for me.
What those norms?
No, I'm just
That,
saying,
like-
like in general, because it upsets me. that was a statement. But I don't. Do you think something's like wrong with someone? Like to me, I think it's weird. Okay, because I've been asked to be the third, and I'm like, your chick is not okay with it. You are, but she doesn't want you to leave.
So interestingly enough, we talked about but non-monogamy and like cheating and infidelity, right? And I think that those are two they're not the same thing, because even in open relationships and non-monogamous relationships, there are boundaries that are set, and anything that happens outside of that boundary is infidelity and it is cheating.
Okay.
Having like
Tell us some of those rules. I'm curious.
I work with people who are trying to figure out what those boundaries, what those rules are for them, because each relationship gets to define it the way that they want to define it. For example, you might have somebody that says like, I want to know every person that you have sex with. Like, I want you to come and tell me that you're going to have sex with this person before you have sex with them.
Yeah.
And if they go and have sex and they don't tell their partner first, that's cheating for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Or maybe they have the opposite. Maybe they're like, I don't want to know about any of it, but I have this other rule.
Toxicas.
Okay.
Oh
Let me find out.
It seems like I struck a nerve in this room, baby.
That's funny.
What's up, baby?
I don't know. It's just, I'm like, yeah, I can do it, but you can't do it. Like, that's my mentality. But, one day. For the right one.
I agree.
See, but I think that some people just identify more as monogamous.
I think so, too. It's just so hard. Ransom,
What?
are you getting tied down?
Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon.
So how do you feel about this statement when people are like, especially men, they say this a lot, we're like, it's in my nature. I love you, but I gotta fuck other girls.
Okay,
but
baby boy.
Exactly. I'm gonna marry you. You can have my baby, but I like to go fuck other girls every once in a while.
But I love you.
But they blame it on their like primal instincts. Like that's just how.
Okay, yeah, that's just ridiculous. And like, no, that is not what non-monogamy is.
I'm dead.
That's just the way they try to justify it, I guess.
Yeah, but you know what? There are other people who would be okay with that. And so that's who they should be looking for, in my opinion, right? And so that's where it starts to be really hard and tricky, and that's where more hurt happens when a non-monogamous person is trying to date a monogamous person.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
never going to,
Match
they're always
and
going to
work.
bump heads,
Yeah.
right?
Just like real life,
Yeah, and I kind of compare it even to like gay and straight, right?
Yeah.
Like if a gay person is trying to be with a straight person, it's probably not going to work.
And it's not gonna work
Say it
because
louder for Ransom.
it's not it's not gonna work because at the end of the day they're always gonna go back to what they love, pretty much.
Yeah.
But this isn't about me. This is about
Yeah.
No, it's not about you.
I love those straight girls. Fuck.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's just more exciting. All right, fuck off. Fuck off.
Exciting.
What do you mean you think I'm cute? It's like
Oh my
Here we
gosh.
go.
All right. So it says, when do you know when it's time to refer out to more help when it comes to intergenerational trauma related to sex and intimacy? Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I guess this probably doesn't just speak to intergenerational stuff, but just broadly speaking, like I would refer out if the person that I'm working with, any one of them, if it's a relationship or an individual, triggers me because we all have triggers,
Right.
right? Like therapists have triggers too. And so if somebody is triggering me in some way, I'm going to refer that person out because I'm not the best person to work with them. I want people to be comfortable and feel safe in the space that they are talking about some of their most vulnerable things. And if I'm being triggered, you're going to feel that. And I don't want you to feel that. So I'm going to go ahead and refer that out. I'll also refer out if we start to get stuck in the therapeutic process, because again, that's not beneficial. It's not useful.
Right.
I'm obvious. You need something else.
Yeah.
That's different than me.
Okay. Dang it! I just forgot my next question.
It'll pop up.
It will.
Where we at?
We're at 9.
All right. Number 9. Why did you choose your profession?
It was a roundabout way, but I think it was because of the relationship that I had with sex because of my upbringing. There was, like I said, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, and even my sexuality. Again, like a gay woman that didn't even come out till she was in her late 30s.
Right.
That's dope, though.
It was hard.
I was like, how did you hide it for that long? Is my
You
question.
know what's funny is that it wasn't like a conscious decision. It's not like I woke up every day saying like I'm gay but I can't be.
Oh, okay.
It was almost like I didn't see any representation of what I wanted my life to look like in a non-straight way, if that makes any sense. In other words, like I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to have like the house, the white picket fence, right? Like I wanted to have all of those things, and I didn't know anybody that was a gay woman that had those things.
Right.
They were all straight. And so it was almost
They're all
like
in the closet.
it hadn't even occurred to me.
Sorry.
Hadn't even occurred to me.
Right. Yeah, when you don't see it, it's hard.
Exactly.
There's no role models either, so like I mean,
Yeah.
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 Really nice. Now
was
you
quite a
think about it.
Confusing journey.
But okay, I remember my question now. Okay, so because there's ugly parts to sex therapy, and rape comes to mind, sexual assault comes to mind. Do you get those kinds of clients as well?
I can, yes. And again, kind of going back to that referral, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I get a client,
What if they're like, hey, this happened to me, but I want to have sex now? Could you help them?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. And I have worked with clients who have had some very traumatic experiences with sex.
Yeah.
And have worked through their healing and their processing of what happened.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Do you have an age restriction?
I mean, I don't really like working with children or adolescents. Like that's just my preference.
Right.
So really anybody that's 18 or older.
Okay. I was just curious because I'm like, where we don't talk about sex and stuff, I know like when you said performance block, I'm like, I didn't even like, this is going to sound nasty, but I never busted nuts when I first started having sex. I was just like, I'm just doing it because, just to do it. Like, it's fun, but I wasn't finishing. And I'm like,
How was it fun then?
I mean, because I love the person, you fucking bitch. Because I love them, and like it's a beautiful thing to love one another, and this is how
Yeah.
But I wasn't, and I didn't know that, so I'm like, and then I can't ask my mom. I'm not gonna,
She'd be like, what the hell? what is busting the nut?
So stupid.
But you know what's
Whatever.
interesting is that's very common. I forget the statistic, but it's in a really good book. It's called Come As You Are.
Ooh, love that title.
Yeah.
Stupid.
But she has a statistic in there of orgasms and actually how infrequently women experience them. And I think in heterosexual relationships, she says that statistically speaking, like it's pretty high. I think it's like 70% or something of the time.
It was pretty high.
Yeah.
I was just laughing because I want her to ask.
What you gonna ask?
No, because there was a thing that I was listening to. It was like lesbians know how to do it better because they have the same anatomy. So of course they know where what to do.
Of course we know where the jackpot is.
We know that money
Psych.
shot.
It's like, honestly, no, that's not true, though. Not all girls, no.
No.
You know how, like, some guys are just like,
Hit comment below if you've been with ransom.
no! No, 'cause you know, like, there's some guys that, like, just, remember we talked about last time that just stick their tongue out and they're just, like, crazy wild with it? Like, there's no movement, no intimate, you know what I'm saying? No love.
Yeah. No love. You gotta worship the flowers.
You gotta treat the pussy like revolving doors.
Oh my gosh. I love her. Oh my gosh. Okay, so how can we encourage more open and healthy conversations about sex and intimacy?
I think by normalizing it in our conversations, like making these words normal, right? Like masturbation, penis, vagina, labia, clit, you know, like making them
whole.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
It is, cause some girls will tell me some like their stories and they'll be like, you know, like they fucked the pussy, like, and I'd be like, whoa, why can't you say vagina first of all, and instead of fuck, like he gave me some, you know what I'm saying? That like, why are you so quiet over there? I don't know, but I feel it. Cause it wasn't talked about in my family like that. No. I mean, my guy cousins are always some fucking dogs. You know?
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Boys are a little different.
Yeah, and then look at me now. I'm talking the same way they are.
That's crazy.
The fuck?
I don't know. My son definitely knows body parts, and he's just like, my pants don't fit, balls are too big. And
What
I'm
the
like, enough. He's always exposing himself to me. I'm like, I get it. I've seen it. I made it. Okay.
Damn.
But he's like, I ask him about if he has girlfriends too, and he's like, too focused on my career. I'm like, what's that? Soccer. I'm like, you're 9. You're 9.
Hey, fuck
Keep
off.
that. No, keep that energy, please. All right. You have any other?
I'm all high as fuck listening to this combo. Yeah. Let me see how you whip.
Oh my god!
Real quick. She brought this shit here. I just need to see.
Oh my god! She hit ransom with it.
No, don't hit me. I already hit myself, and that shit was crazy. Oh
my
shit! Look at me. Look at me, all excited, dropping my shit.
Things.
I'm like, can we ask, like, can you give us like top 5 issues? Would you say most common? So you said performance blockage. So what else would you say?
For what? Though? Like
problems.
What did you say? Sex, relationships?
Well, tell them the difference between sex and intimacy. What's the difference?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think so. Sex is not necessarily intimacy. For example, most of us would not consider like cuddling sex, right? Like most of us, maybe there might be somebody out there who might, and I'm not going to dispute that.
Those dry humpers.
Ransom. Fuck off.
But for the most part, we're not gonna say that that's sex, right? But that is intimate. That is intimacy. And so intimacy is touch. It's kiss. It's
cuddles.
It's
my leg on your leg.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It's holding hands.
To me, that's intimacy, right? Which may or may not include sex.
Okay.
And sex
is being folded. Being fucking folded. What more could you say?
Shut up, butt licker. Okay, let her finish.
Hey.
That's not very intimate, is it? It's nasty.
But I mean, sex, it could be defined in so many different ways, right? Depends on you and how you like to have sex, because not everyone has sex the same way.
I see.
That's true.
Do we have any like fetish problems that come up? Do you have to, like, I would just think for like, hey, you know, my dude, he likes to dress up like a baby and he wants me to act like his mom or something, you know? And then they go into you, like, what would you what would you say? Because there's something for everybody out there.
There is something for everyone. And one thing that I haven't seen that necessarily, but one thing that is kind of common is like voyeurism. Which is like peeping in, looking at other people having sex, or watching your partner have sex with someone else.
Oh, dang. Oh, so like a cuck.
Yes.
It's like the Mon Chalet.
Yep.
That's like the 4th time you brought that up.
We need to go one time.
Yeah, I know.
Just so we just write a review.
I'm down.
I don't know. I'd be scared, dude. I don't know if I could do it.
Why would you be scared?
Because I don't want to. That's just maybe because again how I grew up. You know, you're supposed to keep that to yourself. You keep that behind closed doors. You don't go.
You're not all open about it.
I mean, but like to go and see it in person's different, you know. And the internet, when you're watching porn and stuff, that's different too.
Oh, that's
it's
way different.
It's not in person, you know.
Yeah.
But I
It's
definitely,
right there.
I
It's
am.
really
I
right
know. I
there.
know.
You're like,
Because I heard Colorado's one of the biggest like swinger states.
Yeah, many of my clients have some type of open or open-ish.
And are they all
relationship.
married?
Many of them, yes.
Dang, and they're all happily.
Yep.
Just banging it out.
Yep.
It's gonna be us.
what did you
I
say?
said it's gonna be us. We're
Just
gonna.
gotta bang it out. You know, my grandfather, he used, like, this is weird. My grandpa, he used to, I just grew up and he used to always watch porn, like, and he loud as shit in the front
VCR.
in the front room in his room, and we would be like, oh, come on, you know, like
Yeah.
like I was probably like 9, 10,
Yeah.
11. That's crazy. I think he was the only one I could, if I wanted to talk to him about it. But other than that, hell no. My grandma would be like, he's practicing. Leave him alone.
Ew.
I'm like, you're like,
See, they don't practice birth control either. Cause like my great grandma has 13 kids. Dude.
my grandma
13.
has 12 siblings. See,
Mm-mm.
you do that now.
Hell no, I can
You're
barely take care
you're
of it.
fucking, you're
The biggest freak.
you're fucking, you're not even that. You're fucking, what's it called? Breeding. You're a breeder. Fuck. 12?
My dad had 15 siblings, so yeah.
Oh,
Isn't
see?
it like after the second one, they were like, hey, it's your second C-section. You gotta calm down. Can't have any more kids or something like
Shh,
that?
I don't know. I've only had one.
Oh.
The one and done, baby.
Yeah.
Damn.
I kept going.
It's alright. We'll get there someday.
Oh my gosh. All right. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I'm like you know.
Leave us
Where
your
can-
card.
Yeah, go ahead and tell them where they can find you, what platforms, and what's your tag.
Yeah. So you can find me on everything pretty much. I have a YouTube channel. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. And again, physical location of my practice. It's in Lakewood. And all of my stuff is under Raquel Perez .intima or Raquel Perez /intima.
Yeah. And if you guys have any questions, make sure you comment below. Of course, we'll answer it next time. But until then, we want to shout out our official sponsor.
Be Good Dispensary, high as shit. And you can find them on Hampton and Broadway. Come show some mad love. Don't forget about those trappy meals.
All right. Until next time, I'm your host, La Chula G.
And I'm Ransom. Bye, guys. Hit that follow button.